Our initial approach was to use like the biggest possible model that's there, but turned out using the smaller model yields better speed to quality ratio than using the bigger model.
The generated text appeared in the box, but it was selected, so you could just hit backspace to erase it. But then we realized that a bunch of users, they just want to create it, right? So that's why we decided to go towards this opt-in experience.
For engineers, it's super helpful, like, to write exactly. I went to the dashboard, I clicked this happened, and by not having to do that, like by AI generating that for me, it's amazing. Like it saves so much time.
When we added the repro steps, like the value of the AI significantly increased.
So many unexpected things came up when building this feature, and today we have the team who built the feature to take us through them. We're going to talk about early versions of the feature, user feedback and how that shaped major product decisions related to it, and lastly, all that we needed to go through to make Jam AI deliver high quality titles and repro steps every time. So let's get into it.
In the first iteration of this feature, we had the opt-out experience, which is basically the generated text appeared in the box, but it was selected, so you could just hit backspace to erase it. But then we realized that a bunch of users, they do not care about these descriptions. They do not specify anything about it. And there is a quicker way for them to just skip the process if they do not care about, or they are in a rush and creating this ticket. They just want to create it, right? So that's why we decided to go towards this opt-in experience. So the idea behind it was, like you saw, to accept it on a keystroke instead of pre-selecting and filling out the box for you, which I think is a better UX, especially for these people who just are in rush and trying to maybe capture three different things, create three different jumps. They can always go back to the dashboard and recreate the title if they would like to check it, right? But they can just move very quickly with this approach.
Yeah, and I think also like running the early access program helped us a lot with understanding like different types of users that we have, because like when we started iterating on this feature, we had this assumption that like everything is a bug, like, or everything is an issue, and trying to like prompt the AI, the model into trying to find issues, trying to find bugs. But a lot of the people are recording the videos to like highlight something, to have a suggestion, right? To show something that's like not really an issue, or is maybe, nice, like something to change, a product feedback, So there was a lot of the iteration, a lot of the feedback as well from like our internal test, because we have Dani, who's our founder. She is like using Jump completely different than Mark, who is our QA, and is using Jump to report like our like in product issues. So yeah, that was really interesting to have this like feedback loop between users and us building the feature, and trying to figure out how to create the feature for that, like the broader audience, right?
I feel like part of this too that I'm curious about is just the quality piece and how it is that we determine like is the feature good enough yet, and also like how we like what was the feedback cycle, because of course many like AI suggested titles may not be accepted, and it may not be necessarily an indicator of its quality in total. So I'm curious, like what was our approach to quality?
I think from the beginning we had a very high ambitions in terms of like, oh, we have, I don't know what percent, we need to make sure that like we reach this percentage of accepted results. Like people are accepting, I don't know, 90% of generations, which was very, very ambitious even before we actually started building everything. And then we started learning, people are using jams in different ways. Some people are using jam to report bugs. Some people are using jam to create a demo video for their customer. So there's a lot of different use cases, and we kind of shifted to, trying to keep the focus really, really, really narrow and small scope. So only focusing on jams that were related to bugs. And majority of our jams are video recordings. So we were kind of also focusing on videos first. And then we started learning, if there are videos with voiceover, these AI generations are really, really well. They give really good results because we are learning from those voiceovers, from what the users are saying. Then, for example, for screenshots, those are a little bit harder because visual issues are not so easy to predict, or even like creating a screenshot and, you type something specific that could maybe not even be related to a visual issue. You want to say, change this font size or things like that. Like AI cannot really predict that kind of result. So there was a lot of iterations.
The biggest thing that we were missing in the beginning was basically like expected versus actual behavior, right? Because we know what happened. We have a screenshot, we have a recording, voiceover, like causal and network logs, right? That are attached to the jam normally, right? So we can use those and based on that figure out what's actually happening. But like when you have a screenshot and there is an image that the bug is that there's image missing, how the AI can figure out that there was an image, like there should be an image in the first place there, right? So that's why our initial approach was really, really ambitious, because we tried to have title, description, and repro steps, right? So it was a lot of the content to generate. And I think the biggest breakthrough for us was, okay, we don't want to generate the description because it's a like few sentences. So there's a lot of room for hallucination for the model. And going back and narrowing it to, okay, I know like 5, 8 words titles of just like the title for the jam, um, turned out to be much, much more reasonable, much more possible to implement, and like with really 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 good results, right? And I think the second biggest like jump in quality and like feedback that we got from our early access program was introducing repro steps, because like it's nice for, like, at least for me as an engineer, when I'm looking at tickets in linear, it's nice to like memorize the issues by the title, right? So I don't remember that it's like 9,000 whatever the ID of the ticket, right? I remember okay, then
Yeah.
there's a title, and I can, you can match the issues by the title. So that's nice, but it's not really speeding up the how the bug is consumed and how the bug is understood by an engineer. And when we added the repro steps, like the value of the AI significantly like increased, especially with timestamps that we added, where you exactly know, you can check, okay, there's 5 minutes recording, and as an engineer you can, okay, just skim through the repro steps and okay, nice.
Yeah.
And you don't have to annotate anything as a like QA making the 5 minute recording about your journey and through the product.
And also we had to balance out this performance when it came to like actual generation and the speed which people can create new jams. So we didn't want to wait until LLM generates the whole block of text, because that could take quite a bit, right? For the descriptions.
Yeah.
So it made perfect sense to just generate a very short summary, which could be used, like Tomasz suggested, for a better triaging.
Yeah, it's very concise. Like also the repro steps. I'm speaking from my experience. Like that's one of the things that it's a little bit annoying to have to write down all the exact repro steps that you've done. It takes time. Like I really just want to capture this bug and like push it to linear and not think about it. But of course, for engineers, it's super helpful. Like to write exactly. I went to the dashboard. I clicked this, and this happened, and like by not having to do that, like by AI generating that for me, it's amazing. Like it saves so much time, and it's also a little bit more, concise and accurate. Like I could go and maybe write down too many words that are not even that important, while with AI you just get each step like in very few words, and it's super clear.
Yeah. I think one interesting thing about quality is also like the what model did we choose? So initially, like we had a prototype with local model that was like really, really small. I think it's like Gemini 9 Nano that's like shipped within the Chrome. But we knew that, okay, that's like limited availability, so we have to like use the cloud models. And like our initial approach was to use like the biggest possible the beefiest model that's there. But it turned out the quality versus like the speed of generation is not really that high, right? Even like we thought, okay, there's like a lot of data, a lot of like trying to guess what's happening, what's happening in the video, what's happening in the screenshot, what's the user intention. But like we haven't measured like in percentage what's the quality of the generation. But turn out using the smaller model yields better like speed to quality ratio than using the bigger model. So of course there's a lot of like secret sauce that we did behind the scenes to make sure that it's like almost instantly or almost instant, but we don't want to have an experience where like you record a 5-minute video and then you have to wait for 30 seconds for the AI to generate something because you already spent 5 minutes creating your jam. So why you have to spend like another time on top of this, right? Like it should be okay, I did in the video reproduce the issue and I want to just press a button and send it, create a jam.
I would like to ask a final question for Tomasz, particularly about where this feature has been built.
Yeah, in the middle of October, I decided with my wife that we don't want to spend like the fall in Poland because it's like November, especially is like really terrible. The weather is really bad and grim, and everything is sad. So uh, I converted the camper van earlier this year. So we decided, okay, let's go, let's drive south. So for the most of the project, let's say, or the core part of the project was implemented in the van in the Greece, somewhere on the, you know, uh, sunny parking lot next to the beach, or in some nice campsite in the Olive Garden. Uh, it's just the way to live, I think. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and like powered by Starlink. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Like solar power and Starlink. Yeah, and it's really nice that you can drive like to the top of the mountain. There's like no people around, and you have like really quick internet access. You can hop on a call, you can develop everything if you have a computer, and yeah, that's a really benefit of like remote work and asynchronous work as well. So definitely I will be continuing building other projects in the future in the van uh, after the winter,
Well,
probably.
this is the moment where I'm gonna overlay some photos of the van so everyone can see as well. And with that, I'd say let's wrap for this time. Thanks so much for sharing everything and chiming in about all this.
I just hope that it's going to be more interesting for our users than for my dog because he already fall asleep.
That's so funny.